Good morning and welcome to a new episode of Thinking It Through with Tia. I know it's been a while since I have been online posting a video, and I'm grateful for the many people that strongly suggested that I make videos again. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I have quite a few questions that have come to me. So to make it easier and not worry about trying to answer the questions in a particular way, I'm just going to pull a question, and when I pull a question, I'll answer it now. So here we go. Let's see what we're going to talk about today. Okay, well, can you talk about ego? Yes, I can talk about ego. Some people see ego as a positive thing. Some people see ego as a negative thing. For me, I just see ego as an opportunity to get to better understand what it is that you're dealing with inside of yourself, right? Some people confuse ego with confidence, but I prefer to say that if you're standing in a state of ego and egotistical ways, then you tend to do things that harm others, or you tend to push away things, but it's really because of fear. So confidence or humility, to me is the opposite of ego, right? Confidence and humility, I think you can tell the difference because there's a peace in it. There is nothing that comes against another person. It's all about yourself and trusting that everything is good and trusting that all is well. You can stay humble because you've learned to accept that there's only one you, right? And no one else can compete with you because, the saying, you can't compete where you don't compare. It's because we were all uniquely made, right? We were all uniquely made to be our own version of ourselves. There's nobody else that can be you. Even if other people tried to be you, they wouldn't be able to be you in the way that you are you, right? So people sometimes, when they haven't stepped into digging into the trauma of their past or the things that they ultimately fear, they step into ego, right? And sometimes they get into a state where they're like, let's say, people are jealous of me, or people want to be me, or I know that I'm better than everyone else, or that's just beneath me, right? Even is ego, right? That's beneath me, or all of the little different things that makes a person feel like they're more than they have actually truly accepted that they are, right? You could stand in a state of balance when you know who you are, and you could say that there are some things that are beneath the level you're at in your life, right? But it doesn't make those things beneath you. I hope that makes sense, right? So when you're talking about ego, take a moment to look inside of yourself and ask yourself, like, what's going on with me, right? Why am I feeling the need to compare myself to other people? Why am I feeling the need to concern myself with other people's thoughts? Why am I feeling the need to try to even bash others to make me feel better? If you are standing in true confidence, you're not worrying about what other people are doing. You're not worrying about what other people think about what you're doing. If you find yourself stuck in a situation where you're worrying more about what other people think that you're doing, or you're doing things based on wanting people to think let's say, think specific things about you, or so I guess a good way to say it is, if you want people to see you like you just always have it together, like you just always are together, you never have any issues, you never have anything, and you don't care about anything in situations where you could be hurt and things like that, you just you don't care, right? But yet you're still mad, right? You say you don't care, but you're still upset, or you're still trying to push someone to see you a certain way, then you're likely standing in your ego and not true confidence and belief in yourself. So what can we do to help identify ego? Prior to pulling a a card to a question to read, I actually pulled a couple of cards for the overall energy of whatever question was going to come out, and I got 2 cards. So it looks like the answer to that question would be 1, check in with yourself. When you think about whatever it is that you're pondering, take a moment to check in with how you feel about it. Do you feel lighter or heavier, excited or filled with dread? Pay attention to your inner guidance. It's always so helpful. Checking in with yourself. So checking in to see, how am I doing? That takes intention. It means literally stop, take a moment, check in with yourself, see how you're truly doing, right? Be honest with how you feel, because honestly, if you can't be honest with you, you'll never be able to be honest with anyone else. The second says resolution. Whatever it is that you've been struggling with is about to be resolved. So remember that resolutions don't always happen in the way we hope or want, but being able to move forward and start fresh always brings relief. So to me, this just really means that remember that if you take the time to check in with yourself to see how you're ultimately doing, then you won't so easily be distracted that you won't notice that you're standing in a state of ego versus confidence. Okay. Ego, there's nobody better than me. Ego, I'm better than that person, or they're just jealous of me because they wish that they were me. Oh, I don't need a person in my life. I'm perfectly content being by myself. I don't need anyone, right? There's a state of contentment, and that's okay, yes. But we all need someone in our lives, right? So to put a blanket statement of not needing anyone, that's another sign that maybe you're standing in ego. So I would encourage you, if whoever's, question, if you feel that you're struggling with being in ego versus balancing out into your own humility or humble state of life, acknowledge it. Figure out why. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself, what are you protecting yourself from? Trust that it's okay to be you. Always okay to be you. Because who you are is all that you have, right? It is you. So trying to be something that you're not, or trying to pretend to feel ways that you don't feel, it harms more than it helps. So I would say take a moment to check in with yourself and know that whatever you find there is okay. Might hurt, might be hard, it might be a struggle that you have to deal with, but you're worth checking on. You're worth checking into yourself. You're worth standing in a state of peace. If you're an ego all the time, you are always on go. You are always trying to convince somebody of something. And sometimes it's you you're trying to convince. So, for the love of yourself, I would encourage you to slow down. Check in with yourself. And trust that when you get into yourself, you can resolve whatever is going on and step into a place of healing. And remember, there are different states of ego, right? You can have an underdeveloped ego, which leads you to a state of insecurity. So everything triggers you and makes you feel insecure. Or you can have an overinflated state of ego that makes you think that everything is about you and that you have everything in the world to prove when you don't. So I hope this answers the questions. Thank you for asking me about my thoughts. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you would like to have a question added into this jar that I will be pulling from every Friday morning, if you'd like to have a question added to this jar, you can text it to me. You can add it to the comments here, and I will happily add it to the jar, and I'll address your question as it arises. So thank you for being on this journey with me and trusting the guidance that I share. Remember that what I'm sharing is all just my own perspective of how I see things. That doesn't make it a fact. You are who determines whatever is to you. So I'm wishing everybody a magnificent day. Until next Friday.